bit late. Good morning. Is that in? Okay. Okay. Good morning. Is that in frame? Hello. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. Hi, Paul. I shall fix you. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. Hey, Tommy. We have the deep cleaning crew here today at the gym. Hi, Scott. So I was trying to figure out, thought I was going to have to be in a different room, but they were doing something really loud. But they're just going to hold off on that for us. Good morning, John. Good morning, Stephen. Ronnie, hello. How do I say that name? Chabira? That's a cool name. Okay, let's start with a ball on our feet. We are going to do... If you guys can also be in the vicinity of either, let me not cut my head off too much, either a couch or a chair. I am going to put you guys in static back. So the ball on our feet, we are grabbing it with our toes, pressing down, releasing. Someone was telling me yesterday she's in nursing, so she's been like working nonstop with all of this. And she was like, oh my gosh, the ball, like rolling your feet out. She was like, who would have thought your feet hurt so much? And I'm like, dude, especially like you're on your feet all day long. Like you haven't had a break. You've just been working nonstop. Yes. Please give your feet some love. But it's crazy because even before, I think it was 2 years ago at the fitness conference, I was, foam rolling with everyone and teaching everyone how to foam roll all parts of the body. And then it was a recurring theme from multiple presenters to have us switch feet, to have us use a ball on our feet. And I was like, dude, like, why am I not doing that? So that was what really turned me around. And they would have us do, like we would do, a couple body weight squats before foam rolling or before, ball rolling. And then we would roll one foot and then do the squats. And you could totally feel how the foot that was rolled versus the one that wasn't was complete, like you just felt more grounded. And it's like, it's so huge when you're doing exercise, and especially if you're strength training. Press down those feet. Especially if you're strength training things like, squats, deadlifts, like that connection with the ground is massive. That's also the reason why sometimes you don't want to be wearing shoes doing that. Also with kettlebell swings and stuff, shoes. And if I, happen to, for whatever reason, do a deadlift with shoes on, it feels bad now. It does not feel good. Okay, let's do our fingers. So just to remind you guys, static back position. What you want for that is, at home I use my ottoman, but couch, chair, you want something that's going to be about the height of your femur length. So we'll be laying down on the floor, putting our legs up on it. Just grab 2 fingers at a time, gently pull back, and we're going to get a nice back release. And static back position is something that was taught to me by a physical therapy type friend. He does his own spin on physical therapy. He's extremely talented, gets people out of pain, people's scoliosis, all kinds of, he's so awesome, Vinny. And it's the most, other hand, it's the most simple thing, and it feels so good. So, and I've talked about this before. I'll sometimes take power naps in static back position, and or at the end of the night. I try to do it every night. Incorporate the position laying there into my meditations. And sometimes if I have time in the morning, I will do some too. You're grabbing 2 fingers at a time and gently pulling back. But it's crazy how simple it is, but how good it really feels. And I figure maybe I can talk your guys' ear off a little bit about my thoughts on nutrition while we're laying in static back. Did you guys see me yesterday when Bas was like, yeah? And then I had in and out 2 or 3 times a week, and I was like, a week? That's fast food for those of you in other countries. Hamburgers, French fries. I was like, wait, every week? And then he talked about Carl's Jr. on Fridays, and with their no meat, their Beyond Meat, their meatless burger. Get the words out. And I'm just going to lower this a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go into static back first. So be next to your chair or couch or ottoman or whatever. Hello, and ideas for tight calves. All right, James, tight calves. Got it. We will get to that for sure. So once you're trying to find something that's a good height for your body, and we're laying down. This is actually a little tall for me. Maybe a little bit. I can kind of feel it pulling my hips up a tiny bit. So you're laying, look and check and see that you're looking down between your knees so that you don't naturally lay down to one side or the other side, because we do want to be straight here. So just make sure your gaze is coming directly between your knees. Let's have our hands, palms up, coming out away from your body, roughly 45 degrees. Like if this is arms to a T, 90 degrees from our body, let's roughly go in the middle of that. And all you have to do now is zone out a little bit, relax, try to feel your lower back relaxing. Stay there. I'm going to go look at what you lovely people are talking about. And hi, Michael. Feeds, it's blurry. Like the picture's blurry, Scott. Bas Anthony, minus the profanity. Bas doesn't like profanity. He is never here on Sundays. Sundays is recovery. This is our 9th week, I believe. I'm not trying to mother you, but you know how he talks about that frequently. He doesn't love that. Is it safe to continue to do back dips, use the edge of my bed if I have rotator cuff problems? Oh, Michael, that's a really good question. I would say, because depending on the degree of the problem, hopefully everyone is still laying in static back. Go by how it feels. I love dips. They're a great exercise, and obviously a great one to do at home when we have minimal equipment for the triceps. I'm still finishing nursing this right shoulder injury. It's doing a lot better. I have not really been doing them because I feel it just doesn't feel good. So depending on how you're feeling, if it's a bad hurt pain, then I would say stay away from it, or just do a very small range of motion, but that might be defeating the purpose a little bit. So yeah, so judge, like feel your body and see how it feels to you. But I would be careful, because in general, that's a tricky position for a lot of people to do tricep dips. And so if the shoulder is compromised, it might be even a little more sketch. So go based on how that feels. Hopefully you guys are still laying there. We're going to lay there in the static back for about 4 minutes. I'm just going to come down here for 1 more minute. And hopefully your back is releasing. Chris Hansen, if you're here, Chris was talking about how he loves this position to release at the end of the day. I think we were talking about it. So it's so good. And hopefully it feels good to everyone. Just remember, if anything really does not feel good in your body, then please don't force it, or don't do it. I think we all know, the pain when we're like releasing something because it's tight versus the something is wrong, this is not good pain. Okay, let's come out of that and just kind of squirm your way over to the side. Scott, is the feed still blurry? We need virtual hug. Virtual hug. Thanks, Batman. Virtual hug. Oh, Batman, if you're up for replaying this later, I was just going to kind of, as we were laying in positions, talk a little bit about food. And my thoughts on food, there's many thoughts. Let's lay down, let's do some belly breathing, and then we're going to press into our diaphragm and do that diaphragm release. Sure. In the frame. Okay, so belly breathing, we're not going to do any counts or holds. I love the 4-7-8 breathing, but let's just put your hands on your lower abdomen, and when you inhale, try to fill up your hands like they're a balloon. And then when you exhale, push your hands into your abdomen and kind of cave out your belly. Okay, so let's just do deep inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now take your fingertips and let's pick one side. I'm going to first start with the left side. Try to dig your fingers. You can stay laying down. Try to dig your fingers up under that rib cage as much as you can and press in to release that diaphragm. And obviously we're not going to engage our core. We're going to be nice. The video keeps glitching. What is it doing? Well, I mean, the only thing I can think of is I'd have to finish and restart it. Let me know if it keeps doing that, you guys. Hey, Todd. Hey, Colleen, Dorothy. Get those hands up under those ribs. I prefer to do it laying down. So, petition to see Kevin James joining on Workout with Bas. That is a cool idea. That is an amazing idea. I love it. Dig up under that rib cage. Let's go to the right side. I wonder if that could actually happen. I wonder what Kevin James is up to. I'll have to mention that one to Bozzy. That would be so cool. Dig into that diaphragm. And those of you that are using the O2 trainer, so good for the diaphragm and the deep breathing. Okay, good. All right, let's come to, if you guys have a wall, let's come to a wall. So I like to watch different physical therapy types and, mobility people online. And I was watching Here Comes the Boom the other day, Jimmy. That's such a funny movie. And don't you think Baz is basically playing himself, which is really cool. Super cool. So if you have upper back tightness, which, let's face it, kind of who doesn't, right? Like I do. Stretching the pecs, actually, so stretching the muscle on the opposite side can really help with that. It was something I was listening to with a physical therapy person, doctor person. We're going to put our hand a little higher up on the wall. Let's have the leg that's closest to the wall in front, the other leg in back, so our staggered stance. What we want to make sure of is that our shoulder is down, so our shoulder blade is alongside our back, and we're going to get a pec stretch, so very similar to the door frame openers when I talk about doing them this way on the door frame. Just a little bit of a different position. And tuck your pelvis and just kind of gently hold that pec stretch. You just kind of feel it at a different angle. And so many things, whether it's recovery, whether it's your exercise, play around with angles. Our body is not linear. Basically everything in our body, the way the muscles attach, the way the muscle bellies are, nothing is straight in the body. And as I've read that, I thought that's so fascinating. There are so many cross patterns and things at diagonals. So play with angles. whatever you're doing. If you're doing an overhead press, try different angles sometimes. You know, you may have to vary up the weight, but play with those angles. So we're just holding this pec stretch. Let's go for about another 10 or 15 seconds. And then we'll switch sides. So when, all right, gently bring that arm down. Shake it out a tiny bit. I'm gonna move this one over a little bit. Switch sides. Okay. You are very welcome, Aramis. Thank you for liking it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. All of you guys. Okay, other side. So my arm is kind of up high, shoulder is down, and I have to check in on that because my body still sometimes loves to elevate those upper traps. So bring that shoulder blade down, leg closest to the wall is in front. And then here's one thing I didn't mention on the other side is, and we're gonna do something with this, make sure your chin is not jutting forward. So make sure your chin is back on that too. Raise this up a tiny bit. How is the feet? Is it still messed up? Up high. Okay, so Bas and I both, we both, neither of us like a lot of salt. Like literally, if something is too salty, I can, like say I'm traveling, somewhere and, I forget to ask for no salt or whatever. If something's too salty and I can eat enough of it to not be hungry anymore, but it'll make me not want to finish the meal. Like I'm just sensitive to the taste of salt. I just don't like it. Sweet, that's a different story. I do still like sweet, even though I've really toned down my sweet tooth. Okay, gently bring that arm down. You know how most of us kind of either prefer salty or sweet. I would always pick sweet. Okay, since our pecs are a little nice and stretched out, let's do our chicken wing. So let's stand with our feet hip width in neutral stance. Feel first like you're nice and tall. So always kind of check in. Where do you want your posture to be? Usually we want to be nice and tall versus standing slumped over or slouched over. So make sure that you're nice and tall. A way that I use to help make myself tall is to squeeze my glutes. And then from here, let's close your elbows as far as you can, open them up as far as you can. So it's a little dynamic, but we're not going super fast. So, and I briefly mentioned yesterday, if you are used to eating either a lot of processed stuff, like I used to eat a lot of fast food back in, when did I kind of really change? After 2006 was when I really started changing. So I was old enough to know better, but still was not eating great. Take some time to kind of slowly wean yourself off, like how Bas was saying yesterday, just less and less salt. Same thing with sugar, less and less sugar. Your taste buds, all the cells basically in our mouth and in the lining of our intestines, they're rapidly dividing cells, meaning they turn over. Like if you have a cell in 3 weeks, it's a brand new cell. It's not that same cell that was there. We are going to do chin tucks now. Another thing that I was learning from the physical therapy person that I was watching, if your upper traps are tight, which mine still tight to this day, all the time, no matter what I try to do, take your chin and tuck your chin and try to make a double chin. And I thought this was really cool how she described it. Her name is Doc Jen Fit on Instagram, and she's a physical therapist and really good with mobility. I really like her stuff. So I'll kind of feel the end range sometimes. I'll feel, okay, this is where I don't want my head. I don't want my head this far out away from my body. I want it here. So this is where I want my head to live, where the center of my ear is lined up with the center of the shoulder, hip, knee, ankle. That's where the plumb line would be falling. But even from nice and neutral, bring it back further and try to make that double chin. So go from neutral to double chin. And I know sometimes these things feel like so small and stupid and like how could they be doing anything? But it's also being, to me, another part of it is being aware. Like I will feel myself, especially as I've been more on my devices. If I'm sitting and I go to look at something, I'll show you from the side, you can see it better. I go like this, and I'm like, stop doing that! Why am I doing that? But it's just so crazy what our body wants to do. Instead of bringing my whole body forward and hinging from the waist to see what I want to see, I'll sometimes like bring my head, and it's like, geez, no wonder why neck and upper traps are tight if I'm doing stupid stuff like that when I'm not paying attention. Okay, so we'll call those double chin makers. How does that sound? Another thing for neck tension is upper back rotation. And as you guys are sitting at your desk, these are things that you can do, because I do like to lay on the ground and do things, but these are things that you can do just sitting at your desk. So for rotating our upper back, I like to take the hand, bring it to the opposite outside of the knee. If there's something to grab behind you, to me, that feels even better. And we're staying tall. So imagine if I had a string coming out of the top of my head. I'm staying nice and tall while I'm doing this upper body rotation, going as far as what feels good to you. Staying nice and tall with that upper back rotation. Coupling it with deep breathing, and let's go the other direction. We are going to come down on the ground to get this a little more intense. So, the food, the eating. Over time, your taste buds change, and therefore cravings change. Because then, when you challenge yourself and go like, okay, I've been good all week, I'm going to have a cheat meal now, and I'm going to have that, that whatever fast food that's all full of salt, and you have it. And a couple of things can happen, and I think this is really cool when clients report back to me that they had their cheat meal and they were all excited about it, and then how's the feed? I will tell him your greetings from Holland. Then it either really doesn't taste good or they feel like crap the next day. And I'm like, yeah, that's crazy, because that's what happens. You don't feel good the next day. Okay, now we're going to get a little more. That seated one that we just did was a little more for upper back. Now we're going to get a little more. It's all spine, but you'll feel a little bit more in your lower back. Let's bend one knee to roughly 90 degrees, roughly tabletop. And let's start with some dynamic movement, bringing the knee across the chest as far as you can go. Really don't force this. And back to start. Another huge thing, and I think people, those of you that are in other countries, will you guys give me some feedback on this? As I've traveled, I feel like the food in other countries often is a little bit cleaner, a little bit healthier than in the States. I feel like in general there's a bit less processed food, a bit less fast food, even though, there is, unfortunately, McDonald's everywhere. Now we're going to hold the leg over to the side, stick your hand on top of your knee, open up the arm the opposite direction, and look the opposite direction, and just feel that lower back spinal stretch. And again, if anything feels bad or too intense, please don't push it. Please only go to what feels good in your body. So I feel like, and I don't know if that's correct, and maybe, maybe not, maybe if you guys haven't been to the States, it might be hard to know too, but processed packaged foods, okay? Packaged foods, reading labels is something that is, to me, is so hugely important. I forget the number of ways to list sugar on an ingredient list. So, it's not always just going to say sugar. It's going to be dextrose. It's going to be maple syrup. It's going to be agave. It's going to try to sound healthier. And to slowly bring this leg back to start. And then let's take and hug that knee towards our chest. I feel a little bit of a hamstring stretch here too. Not super intense, but a little bit. So reading labels, trying to find all the ways they're listing sugar. Let's add an ankle circle, one direction. And it might be listed on there multiple times. I think you guys probably all know the first listed ingredient is in the highest amount. So the ingredients that are listed, at the top of the list are going to be in the highest amount. Switch directions on the ankle. And pull the knee out towards the shoulder now. And keep the direction switched on the ankle. Oils are another thing. So added sugar, of course, added salt. Look at the sodium. Look at the sodium content on packaged foods. The thing with packaged foods is the majority of them are not going to be good for you. Eating. Okay, bring that leg down. Other leg up, and slowly across the body and back as far as it feels good to you. Different sides. You might have different range of motion from one side to the next, and that's totally normal and expected. So look at the milligrams of sodium, and also look at the serving size. Sometimes it might be like, oh, okay, whatever, 340 milligrams of sodium for this package of whatever it is. That's not too bad. But then the serving size is really a quarter of a package or a half of a package. So that can be a way that things are tricked too. So sodium content, how many different ways, how many different names of added sugars they have in there. And then oils is another huge one. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to hold it over to the side. Hand here, look the opposite direction. I'll talk loudly. So, from what I've researched and read from various different sources, because I like to cross-reference things, in general, the only good oils for our body, and even these in certain quantities, high-quality extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, and avocado oil are the main ones that are good for us. But on so many packaged things, you'll see sunflower oil, safflower oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, pretty much all of the other oils. Oh man, this side, my left low back there's always that spot. Okay, bring the knee back into the chest. I could stay that side for an hour. Bring the knee into the chest. And let's do ankle circle in one direction. So the oils, and without completely boring you and putting you to sleep, what the oils are doing in our body is terrifying. Like they literally they'll sit in the fat cells, and I'm not calling anyone fat, but we all have fat cells. They will incorporate themselves. Bring the knee out towards the chest and switch direction on the ankle circles. Those oils can incorporate themselves into our cellular membranes, which to me, that's just freaking terrifying. So please read those labels, sodium content, all the different ways. And if you're not sure if something is called sugar, just Google it. If you're not sure what an ingredient is, oils, and then just things you can't pronounce. Like it's not. The more things that we can't pronounce that we're putting into our body, generally is not going to be a great sign. I just want to review what I want to do next. I think I want to do my bridges next. I like I like having a plan for you guys in case you haven't noticed. Oh, actually, no, we're going to our balls. I love having a plan. And sometimes I go off plan. Like the static back thing, I decided to throw that in there because I had talked about it for a while. If you have your 2 tennis balls, we're actually going to put them in this low back region on the side. The QL is the short term for that. One of those muscles that lives around there. There's obviously more than one. And let's kind of come on our side and angle into that muscle. And you can roll up and down. You can roll kind of side to side. Keep going with that. I want to see someone tell me how the feed is. But again, my real only option would be to stop it and restart it. And there's no one else on the internet, so I don't know. Back broken. Back is broken. Oh no! I hope it's not broken. MCT oil. I use it too. Great source of MCT. Yes. Okay. Is the feed okay? Hopefully. If you're new to MCT oil, also start slow. Oils can cause GI upset sometimes. I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about that, and he's all like, yep, sometimes you get the big diarrhea when you just start MCT oil and you just go for it. He's like, start small, baby, start small. So yes, but once you're accustomed to it, yeah, I throw MCT oil in my oatmeal. I don't kind of measure it anymore, but I measured it for so long, so I kind of know about what a tablespoon is. So I just like other side. So those would be some of my recommendations. As many single ingredient whole foods as you can eat. Where are we at time? The better. So, and hopefully that's pretty self-explanatory what that means. Eggs from Happy Chickens. Apples, grapefruit, single ingredient, kale, broccoli, and in the world of vegetables too, there might be some that don't agree with you. That's super common and well known. Tomatoes don't agree with some people. I have a good friend who loves cauliflower, but as she says, cauliflower doesn't love me. Doesn't mean it's obviously a bad food. I mean, those are natural, whole, single ingredient foods. Really get into that low back area. That QL. It just means they may not work in your body. So pay attention to things like that too. If you eat something and then either your energy is low or it upsets your digestive tract, and that one's obvious, or you just, if you just don't feel right, then do some self-experimentation and some trial and error to be like, okay, you know what? Maybe that's not good for my body. And of course there's testing too, but I believe you can do a lot of self-testing by just getting in tune with your body and feeling what sort of reactions you have to things. Let's come quadruped to pigeon. So quadruped on all fours, trying to have wrists beneath the shoulders and knees beneath the hips. So just try to see and feel that. If you're looking at your wrists way out there, you're pretty sure that your wrists are not beneath your shoulders. Sometimes it can be hard to tell if they're perfectly beneath, but try your best with that. I like to spread the fingertips so that you have a wider base of support, and that's a trick too if you're doing push-ups and you want a wider base of support, and then the reverse, if you want a more narrow base of support and you want to make it a little bit more challenging, then bring your fingers together. So here's our quadruped. Let's come up and let's bring the knee and the leg up in front of us and sit down into pigeon. Ooh, I just got a little back crack. And there's all kinds of variations on this too. The knee can be lifted and you feel it a little bit differently. I'm starting with my knee on the ground first. The angle of this front leg, visible, okay. Let me move this guy. The angle of this front leg is going to depend a little bit on on your own flexibility. I'm very tight in particularly this right side where my glute and my hamstring meet. And I'm a little bit angled off to the side to start out with. And where you start and where you end up may be very different, and it may not be. If the foot is closer here, I don't feel nearly as much in the spot where I'm tight at my upper hamstring and glute where they meet. So you can also split the difference. So I like to have the foot up here to try to get that area to start loosening up. Yeah, that's kind of, one more thing about food too. Talking about the meats, and there were some questions yesterday about vegan and meat, and Bas did address that. He said, to each his own. His daughter Sabine is vegan, like he said, which is why he has the meatless burger. Let's come back into quadruped. I do eat meat. I do like it, and pigeon the other way. Ooh, that was rough to get into. But what I've also researched on meat is, hold on. Okay, is try to have your meat sources from, try to have your meat high quality, basically. And I know the thought of how the feedlot animals can be treated is very difficult for me, because I love animals. They're my first passion. I will always feel super connected to animals. I really hope that they're being treated fairly. I'm trying to think of how I can phrase this the best. Definitely grass-fed beef, which I believe also that a lot of other countries do a better job in general than we do with grass-fed beef versus feedlot beef. Cattle were not meant to eat corn and grains and fillers and all that crap, and they also weren't meant to be injected with antibiotics and hormones and all that. Like, that's not good. Okay, come back to quadruped. I can't tell which side was tighter. Let's cat and cow here. Let's get this off of me. Like, made me sweat. They were so tight. Okay, with cat and cow. You know what? Actually, let's roll down our back first. That might help our cat and cow. Let's start from kind of the top of the shoulders, and let's kind of take a little bit of time, not too long, to come down our back with our two balls. High quality meat, eggs from happy chickens. I just like saying that too. It's definitely true, but like if there's people that have their own chickens, oh my gosh, that's the best. One of my friends just got 10 new chicks that she's raising, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're gonna have the best eggs, because your chickens are like, they're like a little family. So, oh man, I hope I get some of those eggs when they're old enough to start laying. I'm not sure how old that is. So as I'm going down my back, I'm just kind of rotating from side to side, using this to try to get into those back muscles. High quality meats, just trying your best to know the source, and I trust me, I realize that's hard, and I don't know the final answer on how to make sure that everything is sourced well. That's an area that I'm still exploring and want to get better at. But I do firmly believe if someone's chickens are in their backyard being treated like family versus if they are in cages and they can't move, that those eggs are going to be very different. I believe that we can take on the cortisol, the stress hormone from an animal, even if someone said yesterday, and I thought it was really funny, they're happy even though they're not the smartest. I'm like, totally, I totally agree. But so that was funny. But if they're not, I mean, the animal knows stress, and living in a confined environment and not being able to move is not a quality of life. Okay, so that's down our back. Okay, now let's do some cat and cow. So there's my thoughts on that. And if anyone, I think you guys know by now, I try to be super open-minded. If anyone has great resources or ways, in the States, because this is where I am, to make sure that the meat is coming from a better source, I would be extremely open and love to hear about that. I've learned a lot from a lot of you guys. Gotten some really cool connections. Cat and cow. Remember, scaredy cat. Drop your neck. Feet can kind of be wherever you want them to be. Trying to round your back. Pull your abs in as much as you can. And then cow. That's appropriate timing, right? We're talking about beef. You know what's funny too is one of the first times I traveled back to cat, I think it was probably Belgium, because that's where, it had to have been. That's where my stepdad is from, and so we took a family trip there. And go nice and slow with this. And I was like, oh wow. Look, and I was 16, first time we went there. Cat again. So I was still in high school. And we're driving, and beautiful countryside, everything's green, and so their cows are like alongside of the road, eating the green grass, nice, happy cows. And my first thought, being from the States, was like, oh, look at how tiny their cows are here. And it was like, oh, that's what a cow is supposed to look like when they're not injected with hormones and being fed grain where they're all bloated and, trying to hurry up and fatten them up. So that was one of my first introductions, even though I didn't realize it at the time, to maybe other countries, actually there was a second thing, maybe other countries have this down a little bit more than we do. Let's sit back on those heels. We're also getting a nice ankle stretch here. And let's do similar cat and cow just from our upper back. So now we're kind of isolating it more to the cervical region. Round and cow. I don't feel as much here. So feel what you feel. And then here's the second thing on that trip. My stepdad's father was still alive at the time, Papi, and he had chickens. And when they made us eggs, their eggs were kind of like orange, the yolk. Now we're going to try to isolate it more to the lumbar cat and cow. So now kind of come down with your head on your fists or forearms. And do that same motion, just more with your low back now. And we're trying to get the spine to move as much as possible. Cat. So feel a lot of movement in your pelvis. That pelvic tilting is what helps move the lumbar spine. So when I first saw the eggs, because I'm used to yellow eggs, and they were more orangey. And I was like, whoa, what's wrong with these eggs? And they're like, just eat them, eat your breakfast, or, whatever. And I took a bite, and I was like, oh my gosh, these are the best eggs I've ever tasted in my life. Last one. So, interesting, and I'm just curious if anyone has any feedback on any of that. Okay, now we're going to come to bridge. Where are we at? 45. Okay, good. And I haven't forgotten about the calf question. Okay, bridges. Hang on our back. Can you guys see me? So bridging is always a great foundational movement. helps get the pelvis moving. Let's first just slowly, now that we hopefully have loosened our back up with all of the back things that we've done, let's try to bridge our hips up to the ceiling, trying to envision that we're moving our back one vertebrae at a time. So it's moving one, rather than the whole back just coming up as one unit, because hopefully we've released. So start with tucking your pelvis in that posterior tilt and slowly lifting your back up, just envisioning that we're lifting up one vertebrae at a time. Get to the top, you feel a nice glute squeeze, probably a little bit of hamstrings. And now we're lowering from our upper back. We're trying to lower one vertebrae at a time. And just try your best. And as you guys hopefully keep doing things, come up again, to keep your body mobile, then this, if it's not already feeling like you can move one vertebrae at a time, this will just get better and better. That Doc Jen Fit, you should see her when she does cat and cow and stuff. Oh my gosh, she is so mobile. I'm like, goals! It's amazing. Let's do 3 more, and then we're going to add some reaches. So yeah, just curious if you guys if you care to share any feedback on food in other countries, sourcing of things, that sort of thing. I know there's also a big organic, non-organic debate, and if it's right next to a crop that is non-organic, that pesticides can still get on the organic crop as well. I know that. I feel like at least buying organic most of the time, especially for the current Dirty Dozen, which is a list of, I forget the frequency it comes out, but it will have the current list of the foods that are thought to have the highest amount of pesticides. So trying to make sure at least those are organic. Things with a thick peel, I think it can be less important to get those organic because the peel is a natural barrier, like bananas, things like that. So, okay, now we're going to move a little bit faster with this and add in a reach over our body. I see a long comment over there. I want to go look at it. So we're going to bridge up and reach up in a crowd. Reach as far as you can. And then come down, up, and reach over. We've done this one, I think, just once before. This is a great jiu-jitsu warm-up, too. Up, over. I'm going to do one more on this side, and then I want to go glance at that long comment. Keep going, you guys. Keep going with that. 49. Let's see if I can read it without my glasses. Winning more. Sim. Hi, Sim. Winning more good days and sometimes rain. Good. Oh, no. I'm sorry you feel horrible sometimes. You are absolutely right, Sim. I couldn't agree with you more. Eating clean. Sleep. Sleep is huge. And then moving your body. Yes. You love coconut oil too, Sim? Yeah. Yes, I do. Hi, Kim. No more bananas. Why no more bananas? I'm so glad. And yeah, that's the basic things. Like if someone is sick or battling, an immune disorder or something like that, from a lot of the things that I've read, oh yes, I want to do forearms. And then I do want to address calves for you too. Okay, let's stop with the bridge reach over. Hopefully your back feels a little bit better. Let's get our knees into our forearms. The most simple things are where I would recommend everyone starting. Even as I listen to people that are way smarter than I am, that research, 100 times the amount that I do, like people that it's their job to research. And so we're digging our knee into, it sounds so aggressive, into our forearms. when they get asked questions, do Q&As and lecture and stuff, they say the same things too. It'll be like, what are your top 5 or 10, things for a healthy lifestyle? It's the basics. Eat clean, move your body, get outside, breathing, grounding or earthing, where you're just barefoot outside, in the earth. The ocean is the best, where the ocean has so many negative ions that we can absorb and our body can heal. Let's switch to the other side. So the basic, if you just start with the basics, it can be so great. But if we think about how so many of us, or how our lifestyle has taken us away from the basics, and when we're working, the average person here in the States, I can't speak for other countries because, again, I believe it's different in other countries. Doesn't even stand up. On the watches, you'll have a stand ring for 12 hours of standing. They don't even meet that. They take, I forget the number of steps per day. They're sitting for hours on end and not even, staying seated, not getting up and moving. Under fluorescent lights for 8 hours a day. It's so crazy. And then go home, eat something unhealthy, and then sit some more to watch TV. And it's crazy how much we've been taken away from the basic things. The way our bodies were built, good. We're built to move. We're built to be fueled with good foods. We're built, outside nature. It's free. Air is free. Looking at trees and beautiful grass and flowers, that's all free. Let's come into child's pose while we are down there. Let's have child's pose with our palms up. And hopefully, since our back feels nice and good and stretched out, let's reach out, sit back onto those heels if you can. If you can, be on the tops of your feet. Cool. If you have that mobility in your ankles. If not, here is just fine as well. And you can also mix up the two specifically to stretch your ankles in different directions. Reach forward. Feel like you're elongating, like that. Like you can feel that reach or that stretch all the way down this entire fascial line on the side of your body. So palms up is a variation that hits the shoulders a little bit differently. Do some deep breathing. Feel it all the way down into your low back. Okay, I'm going to come face you so you can see this easier. So starting with the basics that really don't cost you any money. And then you can obviously add on. Let's take one hand. We're going to pass it underneath our body when we're in that child's pose. I do take a fair amount of supplements. I do spend money on high-quality supplements that I believe help me, because I believe that as well as I try to eat, that our soil here is depleted because of monocropping and because crops are not rotated and rested, and the poor earth is trying to feed so many people. So I do believe in supplements. And this is the shoulder, but it feels good. Okay, come out of that, switch sides. So you can always add on, but start with the basics. And I can definitely echo that. And I am so glad that people that do this, to a degree way more than I do, say that too. Because of course they could be saying, hey, buy my supplement, buy this, go spend a whole bunch of money on peptides and B12 injections and blah, blah, blah. But no, I love that they're honest. Like, just start with the basics. Start there. And then a lot of self-experimentation, because my friend that asked about the calves, let's come to the ball, but if you have a ball for your calves, that would be amazing. Let's come to the wall for the calves. I am going to just back up again. Hey, Apple Watch or Fitbit? Yes, it will, Scott, totally. It's crazy though how much the movement. Hopefully it's gotten better. I do see a lot of people walking around the neighborhood and all around town that would still cutting my head off. So, but I also hope it stays. Okay, let's bring your foot up against the wall. Ooh, I also want to lay up against the wall too. I forgot I wanted to add that in. So foot up against the wall, and then bring your body. Make sure that pelvis is tucked, so I don't have that interior rotation. And just gently press in so that you feel the stretch of the calf, and then we're going to use the ball on the calf, and then maybe end with some legs up against the wall. If there's time for that. Anyone can find a wall. I was going to say, if you don't have a wall close by, I think we pretty much all have a wall. This can be done like on a curb or, something like that. And always breathing into your stretching helps tremendously as well. Switch feet. So this is a calf stretch that most people know. Pretty basic. Check your pelvis. This can be standing. Stay wherever you are, wherever you started. This can be standing as well, in the sense that have a staggered stance, and wherever you. So this is getting more the leg and foot that's behind you. We're getting a little bit of a calf stretch there. I don't feel it as intense here, but this is another option for stretching the calf in this regard. 58. Oh, 58. Okay, take your ball and let's go down the calves, which I think this is something that is always good for my body too, because I always have those knots in my calves. I hope the feed got. You don't have a wall, only trees? Nice! I love it. Use a tree. It's actually super. I'm not joking. That's very cool that you just have trees because you're in nature, which is healing. So this ball, we're just gonna go along our calf with it, and if you don't have, use some rocks. Use rocks. So you can use your hand and get in there. But the person earlier that asked about calves is very smart to ask about calves, because they're also an area that's easy to neglect, but an area that can get super tight. Hence always have my little, right there. It's usually on the lateral aspect of my calves. That's always a little bit of a knot. Yes, if anyone is interested, I'm super interested to hear from you guys, any of your thoughts on your food, especially in other countries. Your food, sources of meat, that sort of thing. And also when you're doing this too, check in on your posture. I try my best to always be aware of posture. So same thing if I'm foam rolling, am I foam rolling here or here? We as a fighting family, we spend enough time in that posture. We don't need extra time in that posture. That's only to protect our chin and protect our face and keep our head down when we're fighting. Otherwise, let's not. All right, you guys. Use your tree if you're so inclined. If you guys would like to, I'm going to sign off, but maybe I'll leave you guys one more task. Is the position just with your legs up against the wall. It's a really good position to spend time in as well. Static back, how we started, and this one, both very good. And just kind of same thing, you just kind of zone out for a little bit, make sure your gaze is at your knees. You can, of course, work on stretching here as well later, but just to hang out in this position. Your feet will get blanched a little bit because the blood supply, but that is a great position to spend time in as well. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. It's actually a holiday for us here tomorrow. However, Bas and I are still going to be here for you guys. Person that was expecting to see Bas, I apologize. He'll be here tomorrow, so join us tomorrow. But this is how it's been for the past 8 or 9 Sundays, is Sunday recovery, and Bazzy takes a little bit of a day off. Need to keep pushing and fighting. Sim, you're awesome. Thank you for the motivation. Just hearing your stories motivates me. Nice, Scott. I like that too. Mindset coaching. Yes. Okay. I'll have to look up that person, Sim. I don't know them. Thank you. You're the best as well. You're welcome, Paul. I will see all of you guys tomorrow. Bye, Colleen. Bye, Scott. Bye, Sim. Bye. Oh, I wish I knew how to say your name because you're on here a lot. Tiho? Oh, I'm totally butchering it. I'm so sorry, but I appreciate you. Thank you, Arnaud. Thank you. I appreciate all of you guys. I love the connection with all of you guys. I hope you guys know that. I really treasure this connection a lot. Thank you, Leslie. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys. Is this like a form of meditation? Totally. Yes. That's a great question. I love, and Bas has talked about it too. We both love, look at this big old hair thing. We both love coupling some body movement / stretching with meditation. We both, that's part of our morning routine. I believe he does it at night too. I do a lot of it at night too. I love to either go in static back, go in this legs up the wall, do something, do release wherever my body needs it, and I'm meditating at the same time. Like we also talked about that with the sauna. We always like to be doing more than one thing. So totally form of meditation. Is it just 2 classes again next week? Yes, Tommy. It's just Monday and Wednesday again next week. You're welcome, Mark. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, you guys. Bye. Thank you.